Hello, one and all. Welcome to your Week 7 combo. This one is called the Hydra. I call it that because as soon as you deal with one problem, you've got two more problems to deal with right after. This one is not going to be easy. Full confession, for me, when I was filming all 12 of these combos, this one may have actually taken the most takes for me to get it right. There's a lot of tricky transitions in here, so this is going to be a notch up in difficulty. I promise you that. The combo breakers I'm going to be expecting for most people will be this around the world swing in the beginning. That's going to be tricky to do right out of a step swing. This reverse to shoulder will be something that you might be getting lost on. This shoulder guard into thrust, that's technically a new move because we've never really done that transition going into a thrust swing right out of shoulder guard. So that might throw some people off. Additionally, we've got these forward quarter loops. Those are hard. There's no way to get around it. And you're doing it at the end of the combo once you're already feeling fatigued. So yeah, this is why it's called the Hydra. There's going to be a lot of heads you're going to have to cut off in order to defeat this combo. So without further ado, let's watch the Hydra. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a very hard combo. Let's break this sucker down. Starting in a front guard position, we'll be opening up with a step swing. That's where we bring our rear foot in front of us, pivoting forward again to land in a front guard position, swinging over the head. Now, I'm taking the momentum out of my step swing, transitioning right into an around the world swing. Now, this seriously will probably be the combo breaker for most people. Just right out the gate, a very difficult transition. Taking the momentum from that step swing and then to be able to swing it wide enough away from you so that the sword doesn't collide with the ground is tricky. I mentioned something during the notes, during the Around the World tutorial, that you can play around with where you transition the hands. Because in order to complete an Around the World swing, you need to flip the handle upside down and cross the forearms on each other, right? Now, that can be done earlier in the swing to make it more vertical, or can be done later in the swing to make it more horizontal. No surprise, because we're coming out of the step swing, we need to make it more horizontal in its momentum. Otherwise, it's going to be too difficult to prevent this sword from clashing and clanging into the ground. Not what we're going for. You can even see, man, goodness, what is that? Like 2 inches of separation off the ground? I'm having to really take this thing wide in order to pull off that transition into the around the world swing. So we're going front guard, step swing right into an around the world swing, and then feeding into a reverse step into shoulder. My steps there could probably be a little bit better. You can see I kind of have a stutter step. Not ideal. Stutter steps aside, though, you can see this is also a bit tricky coming out of the around the world swing to be able to get the sword tip to move in front and end in an ideal shoulder guard position, hopefully still in track with your center line that you established from that front guard out of step swing. Let's give myself a grade, actually. Judging by where I'm starting and where I end up facing, it looks like... yeah, okay. Yeah, because of that stutter step, I'd say I pretty much stayed on the center line. I'm proud of myself. That stutter step was actually necessary. But you can see why it's challenging. That's a lot of spinning to be doing. So to keep track of where you're going and where you want to end up is very challenging. Something I'll often do while I'm trying to do these difficult swings that are taking me off my center line is to pick points in the distance that I can use as a way to know, am I traveling on my center line? I can't remember what it was during this photo shoot. I was looking at some fence over here, and then over here I was using like a splotch on the wall. But I knew as I was traveling that if I end up looking at one of those either points, I'm pretty likely going to be good and in track with my center line. Okay, so we have done a step swing into and around the world swing, carried the momentum with another reverse step to land into shoulder guard. What do we do now that we're going in the other direction? We're coming out into a thrust. Now, this is probably one of the meanest things I've done to you so far in this program. I am dumping a transition that we have not practiced before. I knew about this when I was writing the program. My hope was that you're ready. I can throw some new things at you that you've never tried before, and you can figure it out. So let's break it down. What does it look like? We have a shoulder guard position that we're coming into as a result of that reverse step, and we are pushing off the upper arm, driving with the back hand while we rotate forward to end in a good top position for a thrust. Let's watch that again. It is a shoulder guard, driving out, rotating forward, ending in a solid top position. Now, coming out of this, we're going into a downswing, something we've practiced a lot. I'm going to be using the fall of the sword out of this extended position while pulling it back to generate the momentum that's going to carry it over. Let's see that. So we have thrusted. It now drops. We're pulling it to our side, flipping it over. Boom, we're in a downswing. Now, if this were a Hydra, this next head is the easiest to cut off. All you're doing is taking a forward step, shifting that rear foot to become your lead foot, and going into a mid guard. Now, I'm trying to step on the gas here, so I'm kind of not hitting a proper mid guard in between. I'm already starting to let that tip fall, so that way I can continue the momentum forward into a quarter loop with a forward step. Look at that. Hey, do we remember what the name of this guard is? It's with the top hand reaching across the throat. Could it be called a choke guard? Yeah. All right, so we go from mid guard, forward step, quarter loop, land in a choke guard, pivot right out of it, stepping forward into another quarter loop, landing in a, do we know the name of this one? Corner guard. Yay! So once we're in the corner guard, we take another forward step, popping it off the shoulder, feeding that momentum into a diagonal swing, landing in a lunge guard. Man, if you can make it to here, you got to be proud. This is a lot. Look at that. 3 forward steps, each one with a unique swing coming out of a mid guard forward step. And that's after this first segment where you've got to do some of the trickiest transitions I've thrown so far. So yeah, Hydra combo, get ready. All right, so how are we going to slay this beastie? Well, first bit that I would say you should practice is this step swing into the around the world swing. Try to figure out what position works well for you as you're transitioning out of the step swing. Does delaying that hand switch, so the sword goes really wide to the side before you cross your forearms to carry the momentum overhead, does that work for you? If it doesn't, an option that you can do is have your step swing land into a front guard, completely halt the momentum, then kick into an around the world swing to continue the combo. That might be a good progression if this step swing into the around the world swing is proving to be impossible. So try that out as well. The next thing to break down in practice would be this around the world swing into a reverse step, landing in a shoulder guard. That I imagine won't be too difficult. So just do your around the world swing, get that foot behind you, land into shoulder guard. I think if you do that a few times, you'll find it's actually pretty reliable. Should be there for you. The far trickier thing is going to be this shoulder guard into thrust. So my suggestion would be just set up a couple shoulder guards, try to thrust out of it, play around with the momentum and the feel of the sword until you find your version of a thrust swing out of shoulder guard that you like. Once you get that down, I would say, you're probably good to just go for it. These forward quarter loops, those are challenging, no doubt about that, but you've done them before. So you can probably rely that you can figure it out. I will say that when I was doing this combo, this forward step into mid guard was throwing me off. I think it's more because I'm so used to having a swing in every single movement I do that just doing a step into a new guard actually was unnatural for me. Find out for yourself. See if that one sticks. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. All right, so that is the Hydra combo. And you can see why it's called the Hydra. First, you got to chop off the head of this really tricky transition, the step swing into an around the world swing. Then you got to chop off the head of being able to carry the momentum of an around the world swing into a reverse step to shoulder guard. Then you got to tackle a swing that you have never actually done yet before in this program, a shoulder guard into thrust swing. And then you're going to be confronted with these forward steps into quarter loops. That's going to be a couple more heads you're going to have to chop off. But that's all the more reason to stop waiting and start chopping. Let's get this combo!